Hey, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Today, I wanted to take you through my process for adding materials to a SketchUp model and bringing that into Lumion and affecting those materials. I'm going to create some materials in Substance3d. I'll show you how I do that. I've already have some created, so I'm going to be applying those as well, take you through the whole process. I finished a model early this morning, added some materials to it, did some color adjusting and some rendering stuff, and added some trees and stuff in Lumion. And I just got to tell you, I just got back from a run, so it started snowing outside. It doesn't snow very often in Georgia, so that's cool. I'm sure my daughter's gonna be very pleased that it's snowing when she gets back from ice skating. If you like what you see here, please subscribe. And also want to mention that if you're just getting started with SketchUp, I have a free course, and I will provide a link down below to the course that I offer, and you can sign up there. It's hosted by Teachable, and it's all free, and we'll get you started on the right foot with SketchUp. All right, let's get into the video. Right off the bat here, you'll see that I start with a bunch of different random colors, and I just try to organize my model based on material, and so I assign a very vibrant color to that material just to make it very visual to me as to what is colored what. And then I will start to set up all the different materials and drag those materials onto the texture map in SketchUp for each of the materials. Later, I'm going to end up adding the normal map to Lumion, which will sync up with this diffuse color. So I'll add this and I'll adjust the texture size so it maps properly onto the texture. And I do this for all the materials before I bring it into Lumion. It's much easier to, in my opinion, to set your materials and your scale and your rotation of all your materials onto your SketchUp model, and then bring those in Lumion and adjust them and tweak them just a little bit to get that perfect, more realistic look to those materials. So I'm going to go through and apply all these materials, and then I will jump into Substance and show you how that works. So let's open up Substance3d, and you can start by creating a new material and find like a kind of a starter material, or you can go to their 3D library and download starter material. So I downloaded this slate material here, slate rockery, and I want to create basically a walking path up to the house using this material here. So some of these look good right off the bat, and you can see all the texture and depth to these materials. I want to adjust the tiling on this one a bit, so I'll bring it down to 2x2 just because I don't need too much of it, and I want it to be at a good resolution. And then I'll save that here to my library, and you can see I've got all my other materials. You can save it to collection, so you have basically like editable non-destructive versions of your materials. You can export those. I'm going to export as TIFF files, which take up a lot of space, but I use the Google Drive, which has unlimited storage, so that doesn't really matter. And I go ahead and I export all the output selections because I want to kind of future-proof some of my materials. So if I'm exporting, I want to be able to use these in some future applications, and you get a lot more information than what Lumion can actually handle. Basically, Lumion can handle the diffuse map and the normals map, but if you go ahead and export all the other stuff, then you'll you'll have those for future applications if you end up starting to use 3D Max or some other program like that. So I'm going to create one more material for the gutters here. I'm going to do a metallic material, and I kind of want to dirty this up a bit and add some dirt to it. So I'll go through the process of adding a filter and some weathering. I think I tried this corrosion first and didn't like where this was heading, so I just tried to edit it a bit, and it just didn't look quite right, so I deleted this. So instead I'm going to add the dirt filter to it. This kind of breaks up the shine, makes it not as new. I'm going to tone it down a little bit and export this image as well, just like the other one. So now I'm going to apply this gutter downspout color to the to this magenta material. Drag it into the texture, so it's a pretty dark metal color. Looks pretty good. You can see some variation on that metal and kind of a random pattern, which is nice. Now I'm going to use a tool that's been pretty valuable to me, which is I think it's one of the Artisan plugins. It allows you to take a material and paint that directly onto a mesh, and it basically puts it on the triangular faces. If you have ever tried to paint meshes inside of Sketchup, you can see it's very difficult unless you have some kind of tool that allows you to paint over individual triangles from that mesh. And this is kind of a neat tool. It just allows you to paintbrush over whatever material you want onto that mesh and have a variety of materials on a surface. So let's save this model, and then we'll bring this into Lumion and create a scene to drop the model into. Now I'm just going to raise the model up so I start to see my terrain kind of above the built-in terrain inside of Lumion. I want to make sure I clear all their surface terrain and get my model basically above it all. And stop about right there. So after I do that, I go through and I go to the Photos tab, and I go back to Sketchup, and since I'm live linking and syncing these, I go and click on my scene tabs and then go here and save my views. And I'll do that for the other scene as well, because if I've set some scenes in SketchUp, which is easy to set good scenes in, then I want to duplicate those scenes here in Lumion. So that's the best way I found to do that, because if you try to do it in model space and then and build in the build setting, it won't quite match up when you go to the photo setting. Things jump around, so it's best to set those based on the photo workspace inside Lumion. Go ahead and save your file, and then we can start to add a bunch of materials or effects to these materials. Basically what I'm going to do is add all the normal maps that we exported from Substance3d. I'm going to just use the base material, add this normal map, and I will you'll see it adds a whole level of depth to the material right off the bat. And then I'm gonna apply all those, and then I'm going to go through and adjust all the glossiness levels and reflection levels of these materials. So now I have my basic scene, and what I want to do is actually add some lighting and shading to this. So I like to use real skies. I think this is the best way to get a realistic look in Lumion. It's just to use the polygon sky images that they have. Go ahead and adjust the direction and all that you want to get your shading right on, and this just lights the model in a whole different way from any of the other skies and lights that come with Lumion. So I'll just copy that effect and paste it into all the other images that I create. And I usually run in like a test render first before I add any landscape, just to kind of see how close I am on the overall image look. Now that I have this overall look, I'm going to go in and start to build the trees around this model so that they fit in the views that I want. I kind of want to think about the vantage point of where I'm going to be standing and what you're going to be seeing in the view, and just build the landscape basically to make that one image look really good. And I will just kind of map this out here and add trees in on both sides, kind of make sure that everything vanishes off and there's no dead horizon points. And then you got to go back in and fill in some gaps from underneath the trees, things that don't really look that realistic. So we'll render up this image, and I really like the way it's starting to feel. It kind of has a little bit of foreground, some activity in the background. I've dropped a dog way back in there on the road, kind of walking in, kind of fits the farmhouse style. So I'm going to go around and add a couple more views that may, just based on how the model turned out, that may be able to capture a couple extra images from this. So I'm going to go around and render a bunch of different views and take as much as I can from this actual design. So these are the final images that I created using Lumion and Sketchup and Substance 3D materials. So hope you enjoyed and learned something. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the video, and subscribe for more of these videos. I usually make one video a week. And don't forget to check out the Teachable page with the link below to sign up for the free SketchUp Intro to SketchUp course. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that course and anything that you might find missing that you would love to learn about. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.